Excuse me, I just finished eating lunch. I had some chicken, blueberries, spinach, tomatoes, and I had some sort of pita pocket thing and a protein bar, like a chocolate protein bar, like one of them Cliff Bars. And we're a half hour in, and I'm 97 and stable. There you go. And I'm 97 and stable. 97 and stable, which is amazing. And I didn't pre-bolus this time because of the foods I eating weren't real high on the glycemic index. I just started eating and it doesn't seem to be driving my sugars way too high. But again, we'll continue to watch. But with that all being said, we'll jump into this episode. Hello everyone, it's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to T1D with Maddie episode 4. And as you probably can tell by the title, I'm going to be discussing insulin expirations and can you or should you use expired insulin if you have no other choice or if you just want to get more use out of your insulin. So first of all, most of you know that insulin has an expiration date. When it's kept in the fridge, I believe you can keep it until the expiration date on the box. Like, for example, like the insulins I just bought, I bought Humalog and Basaglar, which is the insulins I take. I'm on multiple daily injections for those of you that are new or have just joined my channel. And I believe mine won't expire till 2022. So you're talking 2 to 3 years it'll keep in the fridge. So I theoretically, if I didn't use those insulins right away, or I switched insulins, or whatever the case may be, those insulins would still be good for 2 to 3 years cold. But once you remove insulin from the fridge, once you get it at room temperature, it is good, theoretically speaking, from all the testing that all the insulin companies do, it is good for 28 days, which is about a month or just shy of a month. Why in the heck do we have to keep insulin cold, and why is it only good for so long? So first of all, insulin is a protein, and if you don't know what a protein is, basically it's a biochemical building block. Proteins are made of amino acids. That's what your muscles are made of. That's what's in meats. Certain nuts and seeds, certain vegetables have heavier protein, like beans, things like that. Peanut butter is a great example of protein that is a non-meat source. You get the point. But protein can actually break down. When a protein breaks down, it is known as denaturing. A lot of this stuff I'm pulling from my head that I still knew from biochemistry class. We had to learn about all the how proteins denature. Proteins can denature through temperature, through agitation, or through an outside source like bacteria. And insulin itself, if you agitate it really a lot and you throw it on a Ferris wheel and make it go merry-go-round, I'm sure that's going to affect your insulin. And you guys know if you keep it out of the proper temperature that's stored cool or stored room temperature, say you put it and let it freeze, or it gets so hot that it's like in Death Valley, the insulin can go bad quicker. And many people don't know this, that insulin is often preserved to keep it lasting for those 28 days that you use it for outside of the refrigerator. And what happens is those preservatives try to delay the onset of bacteria trying to denature that protein. Now, the bacteria that are in there denaturing the protein do not harm you. You probably inject yourself with this particular bacteria as you get closer and closer to that 28-day period. They cannot harm you. They cannot infect you. But it does affect the potency and the way the insulin works as the insulin gets older and more closer to its expiration date, if that makes sense. So I kind of gave you the basics of why, how insulin kind of expires and how insulin eventually denatures and insulin eventually goes spoiled or goes bad, and kind of how that works. And what they recommend is 28 days for room temperature, and you can use your insulin in the fridge as long as it's kept stored in the fridge up to the expiration year on the actual box. So now I'm going to delve into more whether I think it's okay to use expired insulin no matter if it's in the fridge or room temperature. Now, I've never experienced having 2-year-old insulin sitting in the back of my fridge that I never used. I keep enough of a supply on hand, but I never keep, like, I don't know, like cases full of insulin, I guess you could say. I don't hoard it that bad. I do keep a back stock because you never ever know when insulin can go wrong or your fridge dies and whatever the case may be. I'm also looking into getting a mini fridge for my insulin and hooking that up, and just storing insulin in a fridge so that it doesn't get open and shut all the time like my normal fridge does. I haven't noticed too much of a problem as of right now, but that's something I want to look for in the future, and especially if I want to start like hanging on to more insulin in case my insurance changes or something really goes funky, or they make me change insulin and I'm not comfortable with it right away, then I'm able to have the insulin I want when I want it. So like I said, I've never personally experienced dealing with the whole refrigerator thing, but I have used insulin past 30 or 28 or 30 days. And the only insulin that I've used past the 28 or 30 day mark was my Basaglar, which is insulin glargine. It is a long-acting insulin, a basal insulin that is designed to replace insulin in between meals and to keep your blood sugar steady overnight and during the course of a 24-hour period. I, particularly for Humalog, for me, the most Humalog will ever last for me is about 21 or 22 days. I typically finish a Humalog pen in about 18 to 19 days most of the time. So I've never personally had to experience dealing with almost expired Humalog, but because of my basal dose, I'm only taking 9 to 10 units a night depending upon what I feel is best. I'm on a fairly low basal dose, and I'm very, very lucky to not have to take a lot of basal insulin. My body just doesn't seem to need as much basal insulin. I try to keep most of my insulin coming from rapid-acting insulin. And again, I'm going to talk more about proportions between basal and bolus insulin, how that can kind of work. But anyways, I have used my basal pen to 31 or 32 days. And it was mainly because, I was telling you that if you push the plunger can't push past that little bit that sits at the top of the insulin pen. Well, I extract with the syringe, and I'm able to get an additional 15 or 14 units, which can last me a day and a half of basal insulin, which is pretty cool. Or it's a full dose for one night and a partial dose for the next, and then I would inject with a new pen after. So I've used, like I said, basal insulin at 31 and 32 days just to make it maybe last a little longer, or I just don't feel like I want to waste the insulin. Now, have I particularly noticed any problems with blood sugar skyrocketing in between meals or overnight or when the basal insulin should be doing its job? No. I think you can use insulin that's expired as long as you're smart about it. And like I said, I'm going to link the articles that I'm kind of basing this off of down below. And one of the questions, like I said, somebody asked in here, should you be worrying about using it? And basically they said just use common sense. If your insurance company is really a stickler, or they charge you $5 million thousands of dollars for your insulin, it wouldn't hurt to try to extend it and see what you can do. The only thing you can do is experiment and see what happens. But you just have to be cautious about your blood sugars going high. Now, am I in no way, shape, or form telling you to go do this? I'm not responsible for anything that you want to do as far as that aspect, but give it a try. I've tried it and never noticed too many ill effects from it. But if you are too nervous, or your insurance covers your insulin well, or you don't want to worry about it, just use it to the 28 days and then discard whatever's left. That's kind of how I would play it. Like I said, the only risk you have is running with possible high blood sugars, and if your blood sugars start going high randomly, or a normal dose that you would take for your insulin is not doing the same justice as a new, fresh vial or pen of insulin, please change that out and please go get a new one. It does, like I said, it doesn't hurt to see how long you can get it to last. I've never went past 32 days, but I have heard some doctors and some other people have gotten 40 days out of their particular insulin. I'm not sure if it's fast-acting, regular, basal insulin. I don't know what kind it was, but they have been able to get more use out of it. And like I said, it's a risk that you have to take. It's a risk that you're willing to put out there. But to me, it wouldn't be a big deal. Like I said, the only thing you have to watch for is the high blood sugars. And you guys know if you don't take care of those high blood sugars, you can build tons and tons of ketones, become extremely, extremely dehydrated, and end up in diabetic ketoacidosis. So the only reason why they tell you not to use it past a certain time is because that's how the manufacturers of the insulin and the testers test it and see how long it can work. And they can only guarantee so many days before something else goes wrong. We only have enough of the strength of preservatives, obviously, because you don't want such a strong preservative that it's damaging your body when you inject it or pump it into you. And obviously they have to keep the cost reasonable or whatever the case may be, and the chemicals that we use to preserve our insulin for as long as possible obviously can't be hazardous, or we'd be having a problem. We'd be all getting sick and dying of something, besides just not having insulin or dying from the insulin that's helping us. So anyways, kind of a shorter T1D with Maddie episode 4. Basically, do what you want. I've used insulin past 28 or 30 days and have not had a problem, but there's no guarantees for anybody. Insulin is going to react differently in everybody's bodies, and where you live compared to where I live, compared to what kind of insulin you take, is going to make a world of difference into whether or not it's going to last. But try it if you want. I can't force you to, and if you don't agree with what I'm saying, that's okay. I'm just here to give you my opinion, and I'm here to not offend you or judge anybody for what they do. I'm just simply trying to say what I have to maybe shed some light for maybe someone who's newly diagnosed, someone who hasn't thought about this, or maybe just bring to light for some of you veteran type 1 diabetics out there that never, like I said, never really would have thought about this, that this could be an option and might be an option for you. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed T1D with Maddie, episode number 4, and I will see you on May 1st for T1D Maddie, episode 5, and I will see you in between time for all the videos as normal. If you have any video suggestions that have to deal with controversial type 1 diabetes topics, feel free to comment them below on any of my videos. I may just use your idea to make a discussion about T1D with Maddie episodes. I believe my first one was on the ketogenic diet. The second one was on artificial sweeteners. And the third one, I'm trying to think what I did for the third one. For the third T1D episode, I delved into the crazy cost of insulin prices, my thoughts on them, and why it happens. And this month is obviously about insulin expiration, so I hope you enjoy these episodes. If you want to watch any of these episodes again, or you want to share them with any of your non-diabetic or diabetic family and friends, they will be under a playlist on my YouTube channel titled T1D with Maddie. That's just T1D with the full word and my name, Maddie. I will leave what it looks like here. But anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, give it a big thumbs up. Feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. I post videos every week about diabetes, plus more. And until next time for more videos, take care, God bless, be kind, spread positivity, and be thankful. Bye, everyone.